I'm Tim Kittro, and here to bring home the bacon are Big Ryan the Fat Guy.
What's going on, guys? The NFL picks against the spread for the divisional round of the 21-22 NFL season. Fat Guy, we went 1-5, so we're 134, 140, and 4, good for 48.9% on the season. But no one cares about that. Everyone cares about what's next, and we're going to start off with the Saturday early game, depending on where you're at. Cincinnati Bengals at the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans are 3.5-point favorites at home. 63% of early bettors are on the Titans. So Titans get the first round bye, and this is going to be their first
needed
game
first round
of
bye.
the year. In fact, what do you think about this game?
I think that I saw 3 most places when it opened. So, of course, we had to do this video right at this time, right at the conclusion of Monday Night Football. I guess since it was such a blowout, we could have done it during, realistically. But these lines have uneven start dates. So this one is, closer to a middle, I guess, middle of the week. The opening period is kind of done on this. So it's settled on 3.5. Do you have the juice in front of you there, Big Rye, on this 3.5?
Currently, it's plus 3.5, minus 110 on the Bengals, minus 101 on the Tennessee Titans.
Okay, so the juice is favoring the 3.5, which makes sense because that half point is the biggest crux. I saw a lot of, I guess you could say, sharp action on Tennessee -3, and then that might have pushed this hook to 3.5, not a full 3.5 considering the lopsided juice, but still something. Contest wise, I'm going to take the Bengals. I will consider it if it gets, if the Bengals get to plus 3.5, maybe a little bit lower, I'll consider it. But I'm not really sure if I'm going to bet this game necessarily. I haven't liked a lot of the lines, right? I went 1 and 2. I really only bet 3 money lines this weekend and lost a little bit. San Fran was the only dog that won. The other 2 got embarrassingly beat in Arizona and England, so it was a little bit different for me, just less betting than usual. And this is just a contest pick. What would closing line value be? I'm not really sure. I think this is it, right? There'll just be some juice fluctuations. I'd be very surprised if this went to 4 or 3. So I think 3.5 is just going to be the number. It's going to be hard to beat, but there is going to be some juice fluctuations. So if you do a side, maybe trying to game that market and figure out where the juice is shifting, or at least capitalizing. It's kind of like in when you're buying a limit order in the stock market, setting a price. So maybe set a price of juice that you think is favorable, or just blindly bet like a lot of people seem to like in the comments, regardless of the number. And I'm sure that'll work out long term. So the pick's going to be the Bengals plus 3.5, but it's not going to be a bet necessarily.
And then the late game on Saturday is going to be the San Francisco 49ers traveling to Green Bay to take on the Packers. As you guys just saw there, the line has moved to 5.5. Green Bay Packers, obviously the 5.5-point favorites. They have 68% of bets at the moment, Fat Guy. Is there a side that you like in this game?
It is. I'm going to bet it. I like the Green Bay Packers minus laying the 5.5 points here. I'm not I had this argument with some friends here. They're talking about DeAndre Hopkins for Arizona, him being out. If you look at line shift metrics in relation to injuries, skill position, it's like a miss. It's like a nothing. You know what I mean? Whereas guys like Joey, although he did get called Joey Bosa on the broadcast, his brother Nick Bosa for the 49ers, I don't think it's clear whether he's going to play or not. And I think that's perhaps an underrated thing because those guys, he's one of the few players, aside from quarterbacks, there's probably 15 players that can really, really move a line. I'm going to say he's one of them. So he's probably a top 10 defensive player. And people can look at stacks or what have you, but generating pressures and double teams, he's right up there. He is right up there. He's not Aaron Donald, but he's right up there. And I'm not sure that this is accounted for. 5.5 is the golden number to lay aside from 2.5. So, you know what I mean? I feel like I'm realizing my equity full with a spread pick on the Green Bay Packers. And I could see this settling around 6 or 6.5. And those are actually considerable considering the power of the number 6, which was realized, not exactly with the favorite, but with the 49ers winning by 6 this weekend. And when we talk about, frequency of winning by numbers 3, 6, and 7, it's still low. Like, it's still unlikely to land on any of those numbers. But again, we're scraping the edge of quarters. We're trying to get those little ridges off, trying to get the most, trying to make $1 out of 50 cents, as we used to say as a kid. You know what I mean? There's really, really thin edges, thin margins, and this is quite a nice number. I don't mind laying it with the Packers. I see that there's an early sentiment on them as well. Packers -5.5, and I do see some elasticity to this line, and I think the closing line value will be had with laying the points with the Packers.
Next up, on to the Sunday early game between the Rams and the Buccaneers. The Bucs are 3.5-point favorites at home. 56% of early bettors are on Tom Brady and the LA Rams. But just so you guys know, this line is actually 3. It's not 3.5. So it's just a mistake. But the most recent line is 3 with juice on the Rams. Fat Guy, is there a side that you like?
Yeah, if I had the hook 3.5, this would have been easy all day. Rams pick, Rams bet. But then, I could tease it up, but then I have to pay the juice. It's not symmetrical. There we go. There we go. Nice refresh. Good catch, Big Rye. 3 is a tough one. It's going to be a contest pick. It's going to be the Rams. This is purely when in doubt, take the underdog. This has got to be the most interesting game so far. Probably the most interesting game, of the weekend, more or less. So I just want to look at this game from a fan's perspective. I don't think I'm going to be betting it, but I'm going to take the Rams and the points as far as the contest goes. I'm not sure if you can ascertain closing line value on either side to be real. I mean, 3, it's another one that makes sense. Here's the thing. If it went to 2.5, I would probably like the Bucs. If it like regular juice, if it went to 3.5, I'd like the Rams, right? So what does that kind of tell you? They're probably, if you're charging juice on both sides of the number 3, I feel like this is just a win all day for the Bucs. Maybe there is some shifts. Maybe there's some injuries that come out afterwards for the Rams. Maybe Tristan Wirfs isn't playing for the Buccaneers, which would create a possible issue against we'll call it a surging Rams defense, but they've always been good. This is just a fun game for football fans. I'm going to take the Rams and the 3 points purely in a contest selection.
And then, Fat Guy, the last game of the weekend is going to be between the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs are 2.5-point favorites at formerly known as Arrowhead. 57% of early bettors are on the Chiefs. Who you got?
I like this number. I like the Chiefs at 2.5, right? If it was 3, it kind of falls in that gray area where I'd like reluctantly take the Bills just because when in doubt, take the underdog. 3.5, I would like the Bills to be real. 3 is a key number. 3 is a active number, I think, in this matchup. And historically, games with higher OUs like this one would be, people tend to feel like the points mean less. You know what I mean? The key numbers mean less. Over the last 3 years, it has pretty much the OU pretty much doesn't matter. There are some outliers that can throw off your data, like for instance the Broncos game where they played Kendall Hinton at quarterback. I can't remember who they played, but they got shellacked. That game doesn't really count in terms of like it can throw up your data. It can throw off your data quite a bit. There are extreme circumstances, but that being said, the trend line, doesn't seem to matter in terms of the OU, at least the last 3 years. So that is an interesting point to bring up. I don't know if that's a sampling issue or if that's a perhaps teams are more aggressive in chasing when they're behind. I mean, we didn't really see that this weekend, but that might be indicative of it. I do think it's a combination of both, especially with the lower sample over 3 years. That being said, I still think 2.5 is a fine number to lay with the Kansas City Chiefs, and I will be selecting them, and I'm close to betting them. I haven't exactly I haven't pulled the trigger yet, but I will be with Green Bay. But I'm taking a harder look. Let's call it the Chiefs. And this is another game that's going to be very interesting to watch. A nice little revenge game for the Chiefs at home. Let's see how they get it. See if they're able to get it done and cover the 2.5. Chiefs -2.5.
Kendall Hinton went 1 for 9 against the New Orleans Saints in 2020.
yeah, there you
go. Fat Guy, lightning round, Cincinnati at Tennessee.
Bengals with the hook.
San Fran at Green Bay.
Packers minus the golden number.
LA Rams at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
A chalky Rams +3.
and Buffalo at Kansas City.
Laying 2.5 with the Chiefs.
And congratulations to Satuple for going 5-1 in the wild card round. Good for 83%. Congrats to you. 5 of 6 favorites won, if I'm not mistaken. Satuple had all of the favorites. So
he just went double secret contrarian.
Yeah, it worked out really well.
Yeah, he's allowed to, and I appreciate him participating all the time. So,
ironically, True Contrarian went 5-1 as well.
I wonder who that is, Big Rye.
And then congrats to everyone else who went 4-2, and a couple. Billy 369, the regular season winner, 3-3. Fat Guy, on to the name of the week honorable mentions.
Late for the party. Little late picks from Mickey, one of our key contributors. Really just a big, important part of the BRFG crew. Pretty sure Eagles could win a Pennsylvania Bowl. Let's pin the Fat Guy. I think I'd be a tough wrestler, although I'd probably be a jobber. I don't think I have quite the charisma. I'd be more like a Bastion Booger. Car is not required on the road to SoFi. Okay, that's not bad. Find someone that loves you more than Fat Guy loves his underdog money lines. Yeah, that's fair. Now, the home team may win, but do not count on it. That's fair. This is the only name I could come up with. I hope you like it. Well, it made the list. No fear, Fat Guy is here to save your Super Wildcard weekend. Apparently not. However, I might have a twin who is the true contrarian. So I guess if you went, Dean Worm or Double Secret, I reference Animal House way more than I just like that movie.
This is the JS715 Name of the Week. Whoa, kaboom!
I finished on top of the Fat Guy. I hope so. I went 1-5 in this not so competitive contest. So yeah, I mean, that's what we used to put on the shirts when we did do that. Logistics have made it a nightmare. You can't really blame us to go the Bitcoin route. T-shirts, sending them out, half of them didn't even get there. Canada to US here isn't exactly the funnest way to ship. So, I guess why we went all digital, and you can no longer finish on top of the Fat Guy. My film career is over.
Make your picks against the spread for the divisional round at BigRyanTheFatGuy.com. Otherwise, it'll be down in the description. You can follow that link and make your picks. So far, the betting markets are fairly even. Like I see the 32% for San Fran, but otherwise, it's pretty close. This is, I feel like, going to be a lot of 44-45% type markets. Fat Guy, is there any of these games that you actually like, or any of these
Green
lines
Bay,
where you're like, I need to take this now?
Green Bay.
Yeah, and that's Green Bay. It's showing 4.5 here, but it's currently minus 5.5. I think minus 110. I guess I could just look. Minus 113. So I wouldn't be surprised if that shifts up to 6 sooner than later.
Green Bay is one of the only times I've ever seen a favorite where I actually think their equity, their chances of winning a Super Bowl is actually reflected in the price. Even though there's so much juice, and we went through this, it's one of the worst markets to bet is Super Bowl futures, but it's Green Bay. I think just has it. It doesn't mean they're going to win for sure against San Fran, but I really do think they have a 30% chance of winning Super Bowl, which is very high.
And good luck for you guys in your picks and your bets in the divisional round for the 21-22 NFL playoffs.